Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be my second video for my second resource that I use in the classroom, kind of analyzing how accessible it is. So as you can see, these are, this is a PDF document. I'm going to use two for my example, and good reason that you'll see momentarily, but just some kind of background information on this. This is a codominance problem set, so once we get into our theoretical genetics, kind of figuring out the Punnett squares, kind of keeping with my genetics theme that I've had going on for the past couple weeks. And as you can see, there are several tables in here, charts to fill out, pretty much what Punnett squares are. And as I said in my last video, these are pretty much the only times that I will use tables, charts, that sort of stuff. So I'm kind of starting to analyze it. Thinking through it when I looked at the Rice book, the Rice text, the tier 1, 2, and 3. In tier 2, it talks about using, allowing paper copies and handwritten text, the interventions and descriptions. I do always allow students to use paper copies if they would prefer. Obviously, if there was a student that had a specific visual impairment or anything along those lines, they would be able to do the paper copy. This is a PDF, however, I do have the original Word documents as well, so I can just as easily go into those documents and kind of use a larger font, makes the tables a little bit bigger, and so on, and then print it from there for them, which could help them see it a little bit better. So that's another type of accommodation that I would be able to do with these documents. One thing that I kind of discovered while I was going through, and it kind of was like mind-blowing to me, when I was looking through it, I was trying to figure out if you could use the alternative text on it, or how that would work, and kind of playing around with it, I realized if I highlight stuff, double click, add to iTunes as a spoken track. Okay, you can click on that. This little bit will pop up. Let's see what Albert sounds like. Let's not go with Albert. What about Alex?
Isn't it nice to have a computer that will talk to you?
Okay, Alex sounds good. So then all we're going to do, we can save it right into our iTunes Music. Continue. You hear that little ding. Go to your iTunes, and this is where it gets crazy. This is awesome.
Codominance problem set in shorthorn cattle. The alleles for color show codominance. There are red and white alleles. If an individual inherits a red and a white allele, they are called roan, white with red spots.
So that is super cool to me, that you still have that ability to do that. What I did not like, though, listen to it again. Listen to the first second.
Codominance
Codominance. It's codominance. So this was kind of my fear, as I said in the last video or in one of my discussion posts, stating that I don't know how accurate, the talk to text or text to talk aspect of it would be with the pronunciation of the different, words that we use. Codominance isn't, anything major. I can't even imagine what it would have said for adenosine triphosphate. But still, that aspect of being able to just highlight and go through it, go through the document, allowing them to hear what the instructions are if they can't see them, I think that is definitely a advantage and definitely a good thing to make sure you share with the students. What I did notice is when I did it, even when I use, I'm going to do the same thing here. We'll use Alex again. It's going to take another second. There we go. When it gets down to that
codominance
spot,
problem set in
sorry, wrong one.
In shorthorn cattle, the alleles for color show cod a white allele. They are called roan, white with red spots.
Okay, so we're there. Now it'll read over here.
Cross a red bull with a roan cow. 2. Cross a roan bull with a roan cow.
So that right there could kind of trick the students up. It's reading across, which is what it explained it would do before. So in order to make this more accessible, I would have to make just a single column for it to read straight down as opposed to across. Because saying 1 and then giving this and then 2 and reading that and then telling you the genotypes and phenotypes is definitely going to be tricky for a student who has some sort of visual impairment. And then also, if I continue for a moment.
Genotypes, phenotypes. genotypes, phenotypes.
So it doesn't register that this table is here. So it's not perfect. Obviously, it's not perfect, but I think it does help, and it does create a nice overview of kind of what's going on. As I said, I would have to place this in a single column to make it more accessible. But I do think that this is, this falls under the tier 3 with interventions and descriptions from the Rice text to allow the text-to-speech kind of aspect of it, which is really nice. Moving into why I have 2 documents up, if I minimize it, there's the Screencast-O-Matic. Here's my other one. This one is kind of our first worksheet that the students will be doing for genetics, for theoretical genetics, kind of talking about heterozygous or homozygous, so on and so forth. But if we do the text to speak aspect just for this down here, it kind of sounds like we're making a rap song. So hold on a second. Again, we'll use Alex. There we go.
For each genotype below,
here we go.
Indicate whether it is a heterozygous, he, or homozygous, ho, tt, underscore, 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 bb, underscore, 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 underscore.
So, it is reading it how it is highlighted, but again, the capital letter or lowercase letter is essential to understanding what's going on here. So I think it does have its limitations. However, for the instruction purposes, I think it is good to use that text to talk aspect. And as I said earlier, again, one of my concerns is its pronunciation of the different scientific words, along with kind of how I would go about making this more known to the student of what the letters are. Yes, it is FF, but it's capital F, lowercase f. So I guess I could write that out, capital F, lowercase f, and then it would say that as it goes through. Again, I do have this as a Word document, so I could, go in, change the font sizes, make it larger, print it out, and allow them to do the handwriting aspect of it, which would fall under the tier 2. So overall, I do think, more of the Punnett squares down here, that the PDF documents are relatively accessible. However, they do have their limitations. Again, that talk to text, it may not pronounce the words correctly, and as you guys just saw down here, it's not going to be specific enough for what we would need it for to understand what is actually going on. If you guys have any other solutions besides kind of typing in lowercase t or capital T, capital B, lowercase b for the talk to text to read, I would love to hear them. But like I said in my discussion posts, I have not worked with a student who is visually impaired or a student who is hearing impaired. However, I would like any feedback that you guys have about how to go about making these documents more accessible for them. I am able to accommodate under the tier 2 and tier 3, but only a limited availability under those. So, thank you guys for listening. I would love to hear your feedback about how to make these documents more accessible. Thank you for listening and have a good night.